From the misty Pacific coast to the rugged Cascade Mountains and beyond to the high desert in the east, you are listening to the Oregon First Hunting and Fishing Podcast.
Thank you so much for tuning into the podcast. Today, we are talking about Oregon Blacktail. So if you love Pacific Northwest hunting and fishing, you are going to love this podcast, especially if you've ever wanted to chase those dark antlered timber ghosts. We're sitting here in our Salem studio with our guest, Zach Phelps, a lifelong blacktail fanatic just like myself, who has tons of experience for us to learn from in Western Oregon blacktail hunting. That's Cascades to coast and all around. Also, the first guest we've ever had on that has completed the Sports Pack Slam. Pretty impressive. We'll have to talk about that at some point too. I'm your host, Bryant, and today I'm joined by my co-host, Gage.
Hello.
In this episode, we're going to talk about an update on the Blacktail Deer Foundation. We're going to talk about, of course, blacktail deer, blacktail hunting, and chasing bucks in the Beaver State. Finally, we're going to have a great conversation with our guest, Zach Phelps.
Zach is a prolific Oregon hunter who chases every animal that you can pursue in our diverse state. Zach also recently started an outdoor ministry podcast called The Crimson Way, so we'll talk about that more later. If this is your first time joining us, thanks for tuning in. Give us a follow, leave us a comment. If we say something stupid, please correct us. We want to know if we're saying something that's false. Also, leave us a review. Tell us how we're doing. We also have our Salem First Hunting and Fishing Club on Facebook. So if you're in our general area, we're also starting up some chapters in different areas here in Oregon. We'd love to know who you are, where you're at, and we'd love to meet you at our next event. Our next event is our bass fishing trip on May 30th. I'm super excited. If you, I know that Bryant, you and I have been talking about guys on the Willie starting to really pick up on the
smallmouth are biting already.
Yep. So that's been getting me pretty excited for that.
Yeah. And a note on the club. Due to popular demand by, all 300 of our club members, we are now the Oregon First Hunting and Fishing Club. Because a lot of our guys were not from Salem. Yes. So we had to expand there, but we do, we have the different chapters. So the invite is open. If you want to put on a hunting or a fishing event in your area, we'll support you. We'll help plan it. We'll help make it happen. And we just want to be able to interact and connect with as many hunters and fishermen as we can in our great state. And we're trying to keep it great, right, guys?
Right.
Let's keep a positive attitude. Yes, sir. What do they say? Think positive, test negative.
That's right.
But anyway, let's get into icebreakers.
First question is, what do you prefer, fishing or hunting?
I prefer hunting by a wide margin.
Hunting by a wide margin.
Yeah, I shoot fish.
You bow fishing?
Yeah, a little bit.
Nice.
Little
nice.
Bit. Not much,
carp?
Yeah.
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah. Next question. I'm going to add one to this. Bow, rifle, or muzzle loader, because you were talking about that earlier.
So this is a tricky one. If I just have to pick one, I'm gonna say rifle. But I will. I don't necessarily. I don't know. I like rifles. I've always kind of liked rifles, specifically like nostalgic, kind of like old school rifles, walnut stocks, blued finishes, anything that was passed down like by my grandpa or my dad. Guns just like they tell stories, and
yeah, that's cool. I've heard no one's ever shared that before when we asked this question.
Yeah, there's just something like personal, like
because there's kind of a stereotype, and now for me, like my bread and butter is rifle blacktail.
Yep.
I guess I've only been archery blacktail hunting for a few years.
Yep.
But actually I'm going back to rifle this year.
Okay.
And so for me, the reason I love rifle blacktail is because like the October season, you're seeing the season change, and the experience of being out there with your rifle, and like that side of it. I never thought about the gun itself being a special thing as well. But you're right, man. Like I don't know. Bows can last a long time, but it's not really the same as a rifle that can be as old as you can imagine, and still be firing.
For sure. Passed down through the generations. I guess bows could be the same too. And I devote a lot of time to bows. I not like compete in competitions, but I shot indoor or archery league like all winter long. And
Oh, nice.
I mean, I shoot my bow almost every day.
You're making a
oh,
bow,
wow.
aren't you?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's so
I
cool.
kind of dabble in traditional archery. I killed a bull a couple years ago with a longbow. And,
Did? Okay.
yeah. Man.
All right, dude. That's
yeah,
awesome.
It was
Wow.
it was
No,
kind of a goal of mine.
We really got to get you and connected with Nate Bailey then
Yeah,
with the
yeah,
Life
for sure.
Outdoors, because
Yep.
that's his whole thing is trad bow. So
I love trad bows. Like if I love old school rifles and I love trad bows and I shoot compounds because they're effective.
yep.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
is.
Next question. Eastern or Western hunting?
This is another really tough one.
Yeah.
I love it all. They're very, very different. You know, like they're complete polar opposites of each other. If I just had to pick one, I'm gonna pick Western. But I've also spent a great deal of time in Eastern Oregon, and it's a special place.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you prefer trophy blacktail sheds or trophy Roosevelt sheds?
So let's say you're going shed hunting, and the world is your oyster. You're going out, and you're gonna encounter something. Are you thinking, man, I hope I find a giant Roosevelt shed or a giant blacktail shed?
I'm gonna 10 out of 10 times take the giant blacktail shed.
All right.
Yeah.
Yep.
For sure. Yep.
Yep.
I love Roosevelts though.
Uh-huh.
They have
Yeah.
a special place in my heart, but compared to blacktails, they do not hold a candle. Yep.
Have
There
you,
it is.
Have you found many giant Roosevelt sheds?
No, I have found approximately one giant Roosevelt shed, and that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
but
They're
no, but I don't.
elusive.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yep.
Well, make sure to share the show with someone that you know who loves hunting and fishing. Help this thing grow. And I also want to encourage you to check out the lifeoutdoors.org. I mean, really go to that website, see what we got there. We've got some helpful hunting articles. We've got cool events coming up. And also, that's where you can access our guild discipleship programs, which are geared to help you use the outdoors to teach people about Christ. So we've developed these, and the dream, the idea is that people at their own churches, anywhere, let alone Oregon or just anywhere at all, can take these programs to their church and offer them as a way to disciple people and outreach to people, because it's kind of hard to invite your neighbor to a Bible study sometimes, but it might be easy to invite your neighbor who is open to Jesus to a outdoorsmanship class that also has a Bible study built into it. So that's what that's all about. You can find that at thelifeoutdoors.org, and we're just real excited to see how that kicks off. Let's get into the news. So we have talked about the Blacktail Deer Foundation a little bit, especially when it first kicked off. I don't know, it couldn't have been more than a year or two ago.
A little more than a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is it's a subsidiary. Is that the right word? Did
I think
say
so.
that wrong?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Of the Mule Deer Foundation, and they wanted to be able to dedicate some extra resources and time and attention to blacktail, which the rest of the world sees as just some subspecies of the mule deer, but for us, the blacktail is very important.
The way of life.
Who I am and what I do and what I love. I am a blacktail guy, and so. Of course, I joined the Blacktail Deer Foundation right off the bat when I learned about it. Before they even, I got one of the flagship hats, before it even really was officially kicking off. But I need to be transparent here, because I let my membership expire this year due to the fact that I'm selfish, and I wanted to see some hyper local work happening, some hyper local chapters. Like I wanted to invest in something in my backyard, which Blacktail. But they were doing a lot of stuff in Alaska and places like that, which where there's needs. They're not based in Oregon. I'm based in Oregon. But anyway, I did let my membership expire. But recently I've started to see some stuff going on, especially through some of Zach's posts on social media about some cool things that are happening now with the Mule Deer Foundation locally. For example, a chapter that has started this month in Eugene, and Zach played a part in that and is helping lead that. So Zach, I wanted to kind of back up first, though, and ask a bigger question of why should people join hunting organizations or conservation organizations?
I grew up, my family farm, I think my daughters are 6th generation on the same piece of ground, just
Wow.
north of Eugene. And
It's amazing.
my grandpa, when I was a kid, I was like 2 or 3 years old when he put the whole property into a wetlands restoration program.
Wow.
With the NRCS and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife. And through that whole process, like I grew up working on this piece of ground with my grandpa, just doing like conservation work. Like we planted trees. We were always out there working on the property, you know, and then seeing the benefit from that, seeing the everything from the ducks and the geese to the deer to the rabbits to the songbirds to everything, you know, like it was just,
Yeah, that's really cool.
it was a huge part of my life, you know, just like working on this project and conservation, and just kind of grew up just involved in the whole process. And so I've always had a deep love for conservation, and as outdoorsmen, there's nobody out there that cares about the things, the animals of the wild, the things of the wild, and maintaining that for, you know, through the generations. Nobody cares about that as much as we do. Mm-hmm. And nobody is really willing to spend money on it as much as outdoorsmen are.
Yeah, and that's a big part. Put your money where your mouth is.
Exactly.
And the work where your mouth is.
For sure, 100%. And so conservation has always been something that's been very, very important to me. And when I saw that the Blacktail Deer Foundation became a thing, you know, I was kind of the same way as you. Like I immediately jumped on board, like got a membership, you know.
Yep.
And then much like you, like if I'm being completely honest, you know, I was a little bit disappointed at just like you said, Alaska was getting a lot of attention. I had reached out several times and tried to get affiliated with the Blacktail Deer Foundation in Oregon, and they were going through some personnel changes, and it just kind of, I don't know, fell by the wayside.
I have a similar experience reaching out, not getting any responses, you know. I was kind of like, all right, guys, what are you doing here?
Yeah,
what do you
for
want? Do you want
For sure.
Yeah.
And so there was a Candy Yao is the new regional director of the Blacktail Deer Foundation.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
Since when?
Late last year. So late last year sometime.
We had her on the podcast in July last year.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So it was after that.
Okay.
But
That's
yeah,
cool.
she's awesome. I've got to meet her now a couple times and spend some time with her. And
she's
she's
really
very
cool.
passionate. Yeah, she is. And
which is funny because she lives in Central Oregon.
yeah, for sure. Well, it's the whole state. So she is for mule deer and blacktail deer.
Mule deer and blacktail.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. But she got a hold of all the emails, you know, that people had sent to the Blacktail Deer Foundation. And so she sent me an email and said, hey, you know, like I'm the new director and, you know, would you be still interested in getting involved?
Wow.
And so I said, yeah, you know, and so they had a meeting. It was actually here in Salem right around the first of the year. And I showed up and it was me and I think one other couple.
Great.
But it was kind of a last minute thing. And so I just really wanted to see it work and happen. And so
I mean, that's what we all want.
Yeah.
That's why we would join it in the first
sure.
place. Like we think of all the coverage of hunting.
Yeah.
Like I listen to a lot of hunting podcasts.
For sure.
Everyone cares about mule deer.
For sure.
Everyone cares about Rocky Mountain elk. Everyone cares about Montana, Colorado, Wyoming, Idaho. Oregon gets kicked to the side. Blacktail, you know, like we wanted some representation. We wanted to see Blacktail get some attention, you know, and it's not like Blacktail are necessarily hurting. No, we could do better
for sure.
You know,
we definitely could do better.
That's why we wanted to join, right? So
exactly. Yeah. And beyond that too, like I wanted to surround myself with people that like actually knew like the biology end of things. Like I wanted to learn. I'm kind of a sponge for information, especially about things that I like deeply care about.
Yeah.
Blacktails being one of them. And I figured that getting involved with an organization like this, like you end up, it can only make you a better hunter at the end of the day, and only increase your the knowledge that you have of that species, and you get to rub shoulders with super cool people, and and you get to help the deer out too. Like whether it's habitat programs or just bringing awareness to one of the biggest problems, especially living in Oregon, that we face as outdoorsmen, especially as it pertains to the longevity of the passion that we love, is unfortunately the political climate of our state
legislation
for sure
is touchy.
And
it's something that unfortunately most outdoors men and women, we're kind of this nobody really talks about it that much, or if they do talk about it, they just complain about it, and they don't offer any solutions.
Sure.
And unfortunately, that's where the war is ultimately kind of waged. Like the stuff on the ground, the habitat work is obviously very important. Any ways that we can drive awareness is great, but a lot of the battle really takes place in the legislation, and you have to support the people that are willing to fight that fight. Like you have to. I get that everybody's busy. Like you may not have time to go to all the meetings and go voice your opinion, but at least support the people that are willing to do that.
Yeah.
Because it's very, very important. And that's one thing that, as I've learned, that the Blacktail Deer Foundation and the Mule Deer Foundation, they are very well networked, and they are willing to go to those meetings and voice their opinions. And at the meeting that we just had in Eugene, there was several ODFW employees that attended there, and they were. I asked them the question. I said, "How much does an organization like this actually make a difference? Like, what kind of a voice do they have?" And the one guy, he says, "To be completely honest with you, an organization like this has more of a voice than I do as an employee of the state of Oregon."
Wow.
Whoa,
which is kind of mind-blowing when you think about it, but it's all public perspective, right? Like it's at the end of the day, as unfortunate as it is, like it's a government organization, right? Like people want to be reelected. They not necessarily are going to do what's right. They're going to do what's popular. And so you have to have those voices. So that was one kind of like big, that's one big plus of the Blacktail Deer Foundation. They are doing quite a few. They've got actually in the works some really cool habitat programs coming up in the Cascades. A lot of conifer encroachment projects. So without it's the coniferous trees are kind of enclosing all the open space.
Removing meadows.
And it's a big problem. And meadows are, critically important for an animal like blacktail that rely on
lots
browse.
of animals. Even bears.
Elk. The Cascade elk population is in the dump to a large degree, just because there's the habitat. Like when you think about the mountains, you're like, oh yeah, there's habitat all over up there, but that's not necessarily the case. Yep, exactly. Food is key. So they're working on big projects like that, and the Blacktail Deer Foundation is also very well networked with like the state and local agencies, and they're heavily involved in getting grants for these habitat programs, because they're very, very expensive to even a few acres. Like the dollar figures are kind of ridiculous. But as awesome as local kind of like funding and just the fundraisers and different banquets and all that is as important as those dollars are going into the stream. They also support the people that are interfacing and working with these different agencies, trying to get these grant programs, different research studies. It's very important, I think, like it is Oregon has been slow to the spotlight, if you will, as it pertains to the Blacktail Deer Foundation, but they do actually have a lot of programs in the work, a lot of things coming up, and
Good.
I think the future looks
That's
really
encouraging
bright.
to hear.
Yeah, for sure.
So now that there's a Eugene chapter, and I'm sure they're working on other stuff in the valley, is there going to be like a voice for habitat work in the valley and in the like where we hunt?
For sure.
Type areas.
Definitely. Yeah. There's a certain amount of, there's a certain percentage of all the money raised from the chapters stays with the chapter, and they can they can allocate that kind of how they want. So,
sure.
You know, as blacktails are a little bit more tricky as far as, habitat work is not necessarily quite as black and white as like mule deer per se. Like, it's a little bit more complicated than that. But there is a lot of different things that you can do, you know, whether it's access programs or,
access is a big deal for hunters.
Access is a huge deal for sure. Kind of sucks when your access, you lose your access, you know. Also when the a vast majority of the Coast Range and a good portion of the Cascades is all big private timber companies. You know, if they start shutting down their doors, it's all pay to play, and you know, that's I understand why they would do that as a big company, but if we have a tool and a resource to be able to provide those companies what they need in order to keep their gates, you know, at least allow public walk-in access, you know,
keep the trash out of them too and whatnot.
So
do you have any knowledge of where they're hoping to start more chapters? Is it more of like the people who live somewhere have to initiate it, or are they like networking to try to create chapters in different cities?
So they, to a large degree, it's kind of the people in a general geographic location. If you want a chapter in your neighborhood, or your city or your town, reach out to Candy, or I think you can go right on the website and there's a contact form, both black-tailed deer or mule deer. You can kind of choose whether you're a Mule Deer Foundation chapter or a Black-tailed Deer Foundation chapter. The Eugene chapter is going to be called the Willamette Valley chapter.
Got it. So it's not just Eugene.
Okay, cool. My personal goal for the Eugene chapter, if you will, the Willamette Valley chapter, is to have it be kind of like the premier chapter. That's just my own personal goal. Is I want it to be like the hub, you know, the chapter to be a member of.
It's a good place for it.
It is. It's very centrally located. There's a lot of. It's just kind of a perfect location, I think, and it just happens to be, you know, like close to where I live. So,
works out.
So if anybody is interested in the Willamette Valley chapter specifically, they can reach out to me on, I guess you can look up the Crimson Wave podcast. You can get my contact info there. I run the Blacktail Brotherhood page on Instagram. That's probably like my main one, like probably the fastest way to get a hold of me. Or you can send me an email. My email is zach@blacktailsolutions.com. Feel free to reach out, but we'll start hosting monthly meetings every month. That's part of having a chapter is we're going to end up hosting kind of like monthly meetings and at least get the ball rolling. You know, this is the very beginning, but you have to start somewhere. And so anybody that's interested in conservation or is just like a really passionate outdoorsman, loves black-tailed deer, I would love to see a bunch of landowners in there. You know, every walk of life. It takes an army, and I'd like to build one. So
all right.
Sure. That's super encouraging to hear.
Well, thanks for the update. Now we know what's going on, and it's really encouraging to hear that some of the attention's getting focused in our area, you know, because like I said, that's kind of the selfish motivation behind joining something like this is like you want it in your backyard, you know. So that's good to hear. Definitely. But I appreciate that update. Let's get into our conversation. Zach Phelps.
Yes, sir.
All right, Zach, share your favorite hunting story with us.
There's way too many hunting stories to share.
Oh, I know. We've heard it. Every guest says the same thing.
I know. But, probably the one that's like most just vivid in my mind is my buck from last year. I kind of going back to like these different various goals that I set for myself. I decided that a couple years ago, I really, really wanted to go conquer the Cascades, kind of like the higher elevation in the Cascades. The not timber ground, like we're talking the big trees in the national forest, that type of country. And
man.
There was one spot in particular that I picked out on the map. And I think I dropped a pin on it in like 2020 or 2021. I really wanted to go check this spot out. I was working on an excavation project for a guy, and he showed me a set of sheds that he had picked up. Monster set of blacktail sheds, like somewhere in the 150s. You know, it's like a really big set.
Oh my goodness.
Man.
Beautiful. They were brown and
brown too.
Yeah, that was the straw that broke the camel's back for me. I was like, all right, I have got to get up there.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So I just decided I was gonna go up and go start looking around. So I had an afternoon off, and I went up there, and I ended up picking up a giant set of deer sheds.
Really?
Yep.
Man.
And so that kind of it was a big enough set of sheds that they were a little old, but I wasn't like, it was not completely out of the question that buck could not still be alive. And so that was kind of like the spot, like drew an X on the map, and that was my entire focus.
You're going to dedicate on it.
It was my entire focus.
Which I've done that before, and it totally bit me in the butt.
It can, for sure.
I'm excited to hear your story right now.
For sure.
Yeah, it's like what you dream is going to happen is what you're telling me right now.
Yes, exactly. So I knew I was going to have a muzzleloader tag. So I got some cameras out and started getting some pictures of some bucks. Nothing real crazy. The big buck whose sheds I found, never got a picture of him. That buck's dead for sure. I ran quite a few cameras up there and spent a bunch of time up there, and he wasn't there. But I did find this crazy like palmated out buck where like one beam is just crazy heavy palmated. And the other side is just like a nice 4-point. And it was of all the scouting that I did all year long, it was by far the biggest buck that I found anywhere. I was kind of keeping tabs on this buck, and I was getting pictures of him. He had a particular ridge that he lived on. A lot of nighttime pictures, had a couple daylight pictures of him early on, but I really had no idea what he was going to do once the rut kind of came. And so I was kind of trying to stay out of the area just because I didn't want to put a bunch of pressure on it by now, because like we're getting pretty close to season. As September progressed into October, he really started kind of ranging out. And then I had another buck in the valley. I had 2 buck tags this year. Going into last year, the rut in the middle of the valley always takes place significantly earlier than up in the hills. Seems it's always, I always say that the best days to hunt are October 26th through like November 2nd. Like, if you are hunting the valley, you need to be hunting those days. Anything before that is, you'll get some bucks moving around in daylight kind of earlier than that, like 22nd, 23rd, they'll start moving. And then later than that, I've always had a very, very tough time killing deer in the valley after like November 2nd, November 3rd. They seem
to go right back to nocturnal after that.
I don't have a problem with nocturnal. I just have a problem with they just become super sporadic, or they're locked down on a doe. Like they'll disappear for large chunks of time. They'll just be off the properties that I can hunt. I'm
going to ingrain that in my brain.
Oh yeah, you should, because it's very, very important. I mean, those dates, I will. My personal absolute favorite date for blacktail hunting in the valley is October 26th. It is. I guarantee that I will have a daylight picture of a mature buck on October 26th.
Wow.
Every single year, without fail.
Yeah, it is earlier.
It
out,
is, for
out
sure.
here in the coastal range. I mean, like, I'm not taking
the coast is a little earlier too, honestly, than the Cascades.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Because I always thought it was that first week of November.
First week of November in the coast is pretty good, but you'll still, you'll catch them early or late October, and I like that. I've always been a huge fan of catching those big mature bucks early, like first thing, like right in the beginning of the rut. That seems like when I have the most consistent daylight activity of them.
That's the thing I always tell people who are getting into blacktail hunting, and they're always like, I took off a week of vacation time for opening week.
Yep.
I kind of shake my head. I'm like,
you can get lucky,
you're
but
gonna have a tough week, dude.
For sure. Definitely.
Save your vacation days till that last week, because that's where the fun is, you know?
For sure. Yep, for sure. And, but at any rate, to get back to the story, I went up there, checked all my cameras. I'll be completely honest. I got really lucky, and, that buck, the palmated one that I was trying to kill, he made a pretty big move, and he happened to land on a ridge that, I had cameras on.
Oh wow.
And
yeah, that's like the lottery.
And he had been, up until that point, he had been very nocturnal. I had him daylight multiple times on the top of this ridge. So that kind of became like location A. The fact that he was daylight multiple days there, I knew there was quite a few. This is relatively low deer. It's very low deer density areas up there. Most of the country does not have deer in it. So if you find like pockets of deer, you have to really be paying attention to that, because
you're probably careful you don't ruin the spot.
Yes, very careful. The season started. I had been grinding pretty hard all year long. Like I have never put in the amount of time and energy and effort and work that I had put into that year. Like I have got nothing. I'm most of the way through hunting season. I'm on my last tag, and I haven't even not seen an animal dead.
Yeah, wow.
And so
stark difference from Sports Pack Slam to that, man.
Yes. And that was my prayer, like the whole time, as I would just ask. I was like, God, like give me something worth sharing. Like give me a story. Give me something worth sharing. And then like every time I thought it was going to come together, it just wouldn't.
Yeah.
That doubt kind of started creeping in, and I have a pretty hard and fast rule that I do not hunt on Sundays. That particular Sunday, I actually chose to hunt. I skipped church to hunt, and it was a relatively short season. It's only a 10-day season, so like I had all these justifications going on in my head, and it just felt wrong. It's just kind of struggling, you know. It's like mentally just kind of struggling, and just thinking about like the impossibility of hunting one deer like on an entire mountain, and actually like the chances of colliding with that deer.
Oh man,
low. So Monday morning there was like a couple places that I got cell service up there. Where I had a couple cell cams. I was headed up the mountain, and so I pull my app out, you know, and I look, and I'll be darned if that buck isn't walking, I mean, exactly down the trail that I was going to sit on that morning. He's kind of walking down off this ridge into no man's land. So I get to where I bail off, and I park. I go jamming down there as fast as I can, because I'm only like 45 minutes behind this buck. So I tried to go in, and the wind was bad, and so I made it like all the way in there. I had to back all the way out. I ran, like literally ran like a mile around, trying to come in from another direction. Tried to come in. Wind was bad there too.
Wow.
I run all the way back around to the first
High
spot.
effort, dude.
Yeah.
Tried to go in. Nope. Bad wind. And so eventually I'm like, this is just like, I mean, it's just like brick wall after brick wall after brick wall. And I know this buck is right here somewhere. And ultimately I was just like, well, maybe lightning will strike twice, and that buck will, maybe he just walked down into the flat. He's just going to go look around, and he'll walk back up kind of like the same spine of this ridge and go back up on his kind of like location A, if you will. And so it was the best worst option, right? So I get in there, and where I had to sit with the wind was bad, like super terrible. I could see about 20 yards, which I like to be able to see, especially if I have a gun in my hand, even in the timber. Like you got to be able to see as much country as you can. And so I was sitting there for a minute and really just didn't like it. Was super, super frustrated that I couldn't like hunt it the way that I wanted to, just because of the wind and just the whole situation I was in. And I'm like a pretty positive guy. I'm a very positive guy. Like I am almost never in a bad mood.
Yeah.
And my mood was horrible. And I was in a dark place, and my mentally I was in a dark place. Like I was just, I was kind of angry. Like if I'm being honest, like kind of just frustrated with the whole situation, and really just not having it. And the wind finally swished a little bit so I could at least jump to the other side of the trail, which allowed me to kind of like see down this little bench and through the timber. And that was better. But I didn't really plan on sitting. I was just kind of run and gun and just try to go run that buck down, basically.
Yeah. Wow.
And I get cold. I'm a pretty thin guy, and I didn't bring very many clothes with me. So after like 45 minutes of sitting, I mean, I was just like shivering. I was dying. Yeah, I was shivering, especially from running around. I was all sweaty and I was
cold. That kills.
So I was even more frustrated that like and so I was like, you know what? I'm going to the top of the ridge. Like, I'm going to go to the top of the ridge. Like, I know bucks like cruising those tops. Like, they like scent checking. Thermals are pulling uphill at this point in time. Like, I'm going to the top of the ridge. I'm going to make my last stand up there. I'm just going to still hunt this thing out, and it is what it is. I get like halfway up it. The realization of my attitude and just kind of like the position that I was in, not in a good headspace, like really, if I'm being completely honest, like in that moment, really not seeking God, just like really just trying to do it on my own, right? Like and just put in the work and just getting met with brick wall after brick wall. And I finally just kind of came to my senses, and I'm walking up this hill and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, you are literally walking in 180 degree opposite direction of the direction that this buck went. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And at that point in time, I just like, I had a come to Jesus moment. I literally like, I hit my knees and I literally repented. I was like, I'm just God, like, I'm sorry. Why am I out here? I'm out here to hunt. Right. But, I was so wrapped up in the hunt and trying to force things to happen and make things happen that I just kind of lost touch with why I was actually out there. I mean, dude, it was like all of a sudden, like I just felt like this weight was just off my shoulders, and I was like, I stood up and I was like, you know what, like God is good and this is a great day. Like I'm hunting in the woods, I got a gun in my hands and I'm hunting bucks.
Yep.
And so I turned around, started walking down the mountain.
All right.
And all of a sudden now, like I'm in a good headspace now. Like just freed, like really just freed. And I'm just out to have fun, like that's why I'm there. I'm there because I love hunting and I enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I took a much lower line than I'd ever taken before. And I was just like, you know what, whatever, like I'm just out here having fun. It's raining, I'm hunting. And so I'm cruising along, and I am a sucker for picking up sheds. And I looked down through the timber, and down below me, I could see this sweet little bench, this sweet little pocket, just like not a very big one. I was like, man, that looks like a good spot to go pick up a horn. So,
because you're talking some steep territory, right?
Yeah, it's pretty steep. I was coming up out of it, and I'll be darned if I didn't scoop up a really nice. It was last year's brown, so like a
sweet, okay.
But it was a really
it
big,
wasn't quite chalky.
No, it was good horn. Good. It was solid. I mean, like it was a solid horn, a little chewed on, but in really good shape. And I was all stoked, man. I'm like, yeah, buddy, I got a horn now, and so it's a good day. But now, I'm not hunting anymore. I am staring at the ground trying to match this horn up.
Yeah.
I'm kind of wrapping my way around I'm almost back to the spine of this ridge now. I've side-hilled to the point where I'm almost kind of at the end of this ridge. I'm just walking through the timber, staring at the ground, and I mean, dude, could not have been possibly more clear. Just like the voice of the Holy Spirit, I'm staring at the ground, and like I hear that voice in my head that says, "Hey, look up!" Like literally those words, "Hey, look up!" And I look up, and that buck is standing at 30 yards broadside to me. Like I literally, I could have seen him for 100 yards.
Yeah.
And I look up.
Like he walked up on you?
No, I walked up on him. He was with a doe.
He was okay.
He was with a doe, but I hadn't made eye contact, and it's amazing. Like, But when I looked up and I saw him, and we locked eyes, and I'm, of course, guns in my hand. Immediately, like I see a buck, like all this is happening just like so fast, and so I'm bringing the gun up and I'm processing, and I'm like, is this a buck I want to shoot? Like he looks pretty good, but he's not real wide. But like he's giant, like and I was terrified of shooting the wrong buck up there, because there was a lot of bucks that were like had like decent frames, but that's the danger of like still hunting like that, is you got to make decisions really fast. And there was only 2 deer that I really wanted to shoot that I knew about.
Okay.
And so I'm looking at this buck, and like I finally, like, it clicked in my head. I was like, there is no chance that there is a buck up here that has that frame that you do not want to shoot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And so, like, in that moment, I was like, okay, I'm gonna shoot him. And right as I like made that decision, he started to spin. So he turned his head and he started to spin away from me, and I could
He
see
was
that.
kind of bust.
I could see that big palmated side, like he was on his way out of town.
Yeah.
So I mean, I pulled up, and I don't even remember aiming, but like I pulled up,
Wow.
and boom, and touched it off, let it go.
And it went off.
It
So
went
that's
off.
a good sign.
Yeah, that was good.
Yep.
Big cloud of smoke. I can't see anything. So, and there's
Oh,
like,
that's,
by
I
now
never
the wind
shot a
has
muzzle
died.
loader. I never thought about that.
Oh,
You don't know
dude.
what happens till
And it was like, it was getting on towards dark. So like it was dark in the trees kind of. And so I'm all like trying to sidestep my smoke to like see what's going on.
Oh, yeah.
And all of a sudden this thing just like, he kind of like gets up on his, front feet.
So he
and,
must have dropped.
He did.
Yeah.
I hit him a little high. I hit him in the spine, mid-body.
Okay.
And so he got up, and of course I just immediately started running after him. I knew I broke his back, so I ran over there, and he was kind of going, and he was actually boogieing pretty good, but I got underneath him to where like he quit coming downhill, and he just kind of I got him kind of trapped, and so I was able to get reloaded and shot him again.
Wow.
And
how long, like you've probably practiced that, but how long is it taking you to repack your gun?
oh, dude, I was a mess. I was a disaster.
You're like
I was
shaking,
dropping primers.
Yeah.
Like,
Like,
it was,
come-
I
I
don't
just
know.
gotta-
It felt like it took an eternity, but
Yeah.
it was probably pretty fast. You know, like I'm
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, the adrenaline was flowing.
Oh man, yeah.
But just like that, when I killed him, it was it was a feeling unlike anything I've ever experienced after like harvesting an animal. Like it was such a there was so much work that went into it, so much like scouting and effort, and just like the highs and lows of the season, and like I just grinded all season and just nothing. And then eventually like finally gave it to God. And then
That's so cool.
immediately, I mean, it probably wasn't 20 minutes like after I basically like hit my knees and was like repented, that I walk down the mountain and I shoot the buck I want to shoot.
Which is amazing.
Just
on a whole
really
mountain.
crazy.
Needle in a
on
haystack,
whole mountain.
dude.
Yeah.
Man.
And just the whole experience was
And as you're shed hunting, you hear.
Yeah.
Was it audible, or was it more of
in my head?
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
But I don't. It's always like a difficult thing to like communicate how like what the Lord's voice sounds like, right? But like that like and it's like, hey, look up, and I look up and here's this buck standing there, and I'm like, oh my goodness, like, this is insane. To be able to kill him, and I mean it was just it was an incredible experience.
Mm-hmm.
The whole story, it was pretty special to me.
Well, now also I know that you and Gage got a hookup so you can teach him how to shoot his muzzleloader.
You got one?
Well, it's a hand-me-down from my grandpa.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Big boy. It is a hefty, long, I think it's like a 48 caliber or 50 caliber, something like that.
Mine's a 50 cal, like a Hawkins style.
Yeah, I think
it
that's
always
what mine
cracks
is.
me up, the guys that shoot the muzzleloaders that are like the modern, like inline muzzleloaders. Like if you're going to shoot a muzzleloader, at least shoot like a cool muzzleloader.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, you inherited yours, so
that is cool.
You'll have to. You haven't got a chance to shoot it yet, man.
No.
You gotta.
I shot a bear with mine. I shot a great big. It was like a brown, like a cinnamon color phase.
Oh,
black
sweet.
bear. Yeah, it was really cool.
Wow, man, that's cool.
Yeah.
How far away was he?
That was 100 yards.
That's a far
100
poke.
yard with the muzzle loader.
Yeah.
Good job, man.
Yeah. I shot a buck with it too, actually, in Idaho. I guess I took it to Idaho last year and shot a buck with it. We drew mule deer tags over there. So
wow,
man, so
it has done some killing. I hate it though. I don't like it. I do not like muzzleloaders.
It's worked out for you though, man.
That's
has,
cool.
for
sure.
That's cool.
And the fact that it went off like without any issue, I know from what I've heard, that's a huge issue out in the field.
It can be if you're careful. It's not too big.
Well, especially
of a deal.
in our woods, it's so wet with the primers and everything.
Yep.
Just issue after issue.
I really wanted to kill a big blacktail with it in the valley, and a couple years ago, this is like super ironic, but I was hunting with my longbow with my feathers, and when those feathers get wet, you can't it's hard to shoot a traditional bow in the rain. So on the days that it was raining really hard, I would take my muzzleloader out because why not?
Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, most people say that those don't mix well either. So.
Well, yeah, that was
best of worst options.
Yes, exactly. I don't I could have taken a rifle; it would have been totally legal. But
so you've taken blacktail with all weapons. Rifle, compound, traditional,
not a traditional
muzzleloader.
Oh, not a traditional
with trad
not
yet.
with the trad bow.
Okay,
no.
so you're working on that one.
That one's the one. Yeah,
that's the next one.
Maybe next year. Upcoming season.
What's this blacktail bender thing that you're doing?
So I am going to basically exclusively hunt blacktails for the 2026 season. So
you'll still hunt spring. Did you draw a bear tag?
Yeah, I do have a bear
turkey.
tag. Yeah.
But then once fall comes around, you're just hunting blacktail.
Yep. So I will probably get an elk tag. I think I'm just gonna get a damage cow tag. Go shoot one and put some meat in the freezer.
Yeah.
Just because we eat wild game. That's what we eat.
Sure.
So
same in my family.
Elk are hard to replace. But then I'll probably start out in California. That's the first one that opens. You can actually get 2 buck tags in California.
Really?
So that's pretty awesome.
OTC.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
And
Nice.
California, dude, I shouldn't even be talking about this right now, but California, I think, is an absolute sleeper of a state for just opportunity, and they have so much roadless ground to hunt. It is crazy.
Oh, in the north. Yeah.
Giant portions of roadless ground, way more than Oregon does.
That's cool.
Yeah. That's the one thing that drives me nuts about Oregon and the west side is you can't get it away from the roads.
Range, you can't walk a mile away from a road.
No.
People talk about it. Get away from the roads. I'm like,
that's hard to do.
I don't know where you live.
Find the locked ones.
But there are roads. Yep.
Yeah.
A locked road is a different story.
For sure.
And that's why it's kind of an interesting conversation to talk about whether or not the gate should be open or closed because everyone's all upset about the gates getting shut. I'm like, you know what?
You're never going to hear me. You're never going to hear me
county road. I get the main lines. Sure, keep them open, but man,
lock the rest of them up.
Yeah, let's keep them shut. But that hound hunters, Jericho's a co-host on the podcast. He has a big problem with that one.
I bet, yeah.
Because the hound hunters want the gates open, but
for sure.
excluding the hound hunters.
Yep.
Sorry, Jericho.
Let's keep the gates shut, man.
Because
I hate it when I'm hunting somewhere and a car drives down the road.
There's nothing worse.
What is going on here?
There's nothing worse.
I had probably put in 10 miles, and this was with my brother-in-law. Took him out hunting for his first time out in the elk woods.
Rifle elk.
Yeah, rifle elk. And we were 10 miles into this property, had got the permits for this timberland, had scouted out meticulously. I had this whole plan. We started seeing some fresh sign, and we get in there, and then there's just pickup parked on the clear cut that I wanted to get in on the morning. So I've been a hater of open gates ever since.
That's when Gage learned that there's gates on both sides of the property.
Yes.
Oh, no.
There's a big piece of property, and I did not realize that there were gates on the other side. So learned my lesson there.
For sure. Mm-hmm. I wholeheartedly avoid timber ground.
Oh, yeah.
I
because
can't.
of the access.
Yeah, the people and just psychologically, I can't take it. I have to get away from people.
Yeah,
which is funny because in the valley, I don't mind at all. I hunt a whole bunch of little tiny small private. And there's people everywhere.
I've got some weird spots that everyone drives past.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
I've got some spots that are public of public.
Yep.
I've never met another hunter out there, and I've hunted them a lot. It's so weird.
I love those spots.
Yeah.
And oftentimes those little tucked away spots like that, those grow big deer.
I've still only killed small deer in it.
They're little
I've only killed
spots,
small deer in them and only gotten small deer on cam, but never gotten another person on cam, let alone seen one of them hunting.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just kind of funny.
So dipping our toes out in the Cascade Range this year. It was kind of my first time, and the first day that we went out.
I hunt coast exclusively, so he wanted to try out some east of us, not Eastern Oregon,
Sure.
East of us, for sure. And the first morning we're out there, we see a big old 3-point. I mean, he was pretty far away. I didn't get a shot off, but
500 yards.
Yeah, 500 yards, and he tucked away into a big reap rod section. But it was in the public of public ground. There were cars everywhere.
Yeah.
I ended up hunting it pretty hard for that guy specifically the rest of the season. But every morning I would get there. I knew when to get there. 30 minutes before everybody else.
See about 50 does.
Yeah, no, I legit, it was 34 does I
That's
saw before
incredible.
finding a buck, and it wasn't even the buck in that area. It was
Yeah.
a totally different buck. But anyway, you can find, if you know the little pockets where they're at, you can find
And the
bunch of
places
deer.
that
That's
most
the
people
key.
don't want to crawl into. I'm
Exactly.
always surprised by that because you talk to people, and if everyone that I talk to hunts the way they hunt, then why am I not running into people in the
Sure.
bottom of these canyons?
Oh, yeah.
But because everyone says the same thing, you got to go off the bottom of the canyon, get off the road, and that's
Yep.
what I do. And that's I
Yeah.
never find people down there.
Or
I never
even
find
like to talk about it.
I never
but
find trail cams.
not
I
very
never
many
find
of them
boot
do
tracks.
it.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like
Or
Yeah.
see sign. Of,
Yeah.
yeah, boot tracks. Like,
and
you
I'm
never see
walking
anything.
around with pruners cutting trails everywhere
sure.
I go, and I only see mine. I'll come back 2 years later to a spot and be like, no,
You
those are
clipped
my
out.
cuts.
Yep.
No one
Yeah.
else has been in here for
sure.
Oh, man.
And that is the cool part, you know, like,
Yeah.
is it a little bit of effort? That's what it takes. You know, like a little bit of effort goes a long ways. And by and large, most people, they really are not, willing to put in the effort that it takes.
It truly is. Most people are not
Yeah,
going into
for sure.
these spots.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's 10% of the guys are killing 90% of the animals consistently anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, you
Yeah, I
sprinkle in.
That's definitely the truth.
Yeah, effort's huge,
Yep.
and I'm a huge effort guy.
Yep.
Just the way I approach like pretty much everything.
Uh-huh.
But you have to sprinkle in the smarts too.
You do.
Yeah.
There is definitely some technical.
Don't fight the wind.
No, you
Oh,
have to
yeah.
play
But-
the win. That's a big one.
But as much as smarts goes into hunting the wind, effort goes even further because that's the first moment when you get lazy.
Yeah.
You get rid of, you forget about the wind. That's
For
the
sure.
first thing that when you're out there and you're getting frustrated or whatever it is, you've just been hunting all season
Yep.
and you're tired, you have a lazy day. The first thing that you do wrong
Yep.
is you forget about the wind,
For
or
sure.
you say,
Oh, yeah.
I'll just kind of
Yeah.
squeeze through here and
Yeah,
then it'll
be
get
okay.
better.
Like I'll just kind of,
And,
nope, doesn't.
never works out.
Nope,
Yep.
never.
Yep.
Absolutely,
You
absolutely.
can't
Yeah.
shortcut it. There's no way to shortcut it. But
Man, there's so many things about blacktail hunting though that make it unique.
Yeah.
And I mean, one of them is I think that blacktail are by far the most beautiful deer.
oh yeah,
Like
I
you
think so.
can't, man. Like they're gorgeous creatures.
Yeah,
And you see like a scruffy mule deer,
for
or
sure.
you know,
They're cool because they're big, but
Yeah,
I mean, they
it's
don't
so-
really. Not in my opinion.
I've
and the
seen some
sitka
whitetail
blacktails too are just
whitetail are just
on
like the
another
ugliest
level.
things, you know.
Yeah.
Like what is that thing? Is that even a deer? What you
Oh,
know, what
man.
are you guys hunting over there in Texas or whatever? But then, you
Especially
know,
in those dry climates
yeah,
too.
we've just
Yeah.
got such beautiful deer, you know, man.
Oh, for sure.
And
Yep,
like
we do.
it's one of the things that I love about them.
Yeah.
Those especially, you know, you get like some nice dark antlers and
Yeah.
their smooth coat,
Yep.
double throat patch, like, you know, that's like the blacktail
buck,
that we're
yeah,
after. And
exactly.
I don't think it, maybe it's because I'm prejudiced because I'm here, man, but
For sure.
I don't think there's a better deer than that.
No, I would
Like,
agree. I'm right there with you.
Oh man,
I'm right
I
there
love
with
it.
you.
And then it's the habitat,
For sure.
like
Yep.
where they live, and it's different regions throughout the state.
It's so different.
And
That's
the
another
deer
cool
act
thing about
different
them.
in
Yeah.
each region.
I mean, you can hunt them like down in California. Like it's almost like hunting mule deer. Like, you know, it's
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
it's
that's
rocky,
cool.
kind of like subalpine, like almost even a little bit of like sage mixed in, and then. You know, Southern Oregon, you got the oaks,
Dude, the
and then
oaks
you
are
come up here
crazy
to the
down there.
valley, and you're hunting
It's like
them in
a
the
park.
willows and
We've talked about this on
cottonwoods.
the podcast. Southwestern Oregon
Yeah,
is like a park
it is.
with
It's crazy.
like, you know, giant oak trees with grass under them.
Yeah.
And then you every however many miles you move north or west or east,
Yep.
it changes.
It does.
And it creates different habits for the deer.
It does.
They act different in each
do.
thing. And they grow different too.
Yep.
You know, and just the fact of the matter is there's some regions in the state that just don't have the populations of
For sure.
big bucks that
sure.
other portions of the state
Don't even have the populations of deer, you
In
know,
general,
like,
yeah.
for sure.
But then there's some places like the High Cascades that have less deer,
Yep.
but generally the guys who hunt it are pulling out higher quality bucks,
Yeah.
bigger, more mature bucks.
For sure.
So there's just all these reasons why blacktail hunting's so amazing.
It is. It's incredibly diverse, and I think
Yeah.
that's what's cool about it, you know. And that's like with the blacktail bender thing. That's like kind of what I set out to do was just
Yeah.
like spend an entire year and hunt nothing but blacktails across like as many different like terrain types and I'll probably start in California and then work my way. For Washington, I don't know if I'm going to hunt modern rifle or if I'll hunt archery. It's very up in the air, like the season dates. I still need to kind of get Oregon and Washington really kind of ironed out. I think I'm probably going to end up archery hunting Oregon.
Okay.
I'll probably rifle hunt Washington. And then me and my best friend, we're going to Prince of Wales Island in early November to go hunt blacktails on Prince of Wales. So
that's incredible.
And Washington has a later rifle season than Oregon, doesn't it?
I think Oregon's later than Washington.
Okay.
Oh,
but I've got my valley in there. See, the valley kind of plays a weird role in that too, because I think prime dates for hunting Washington is also prime dates for hunting the valley.
That's where it's going to be a challenge. Yeah.
And I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't know. I don't know if I'll have a buck. Once again, I don't know if I'll have a buck in the valley that I really particularly want to hunt this year. So I may just kind of forego the valley and I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I am going to try to find one early season, get one killed early season, since I'm not going to be elk hunting. That does kind of open the they're hard to kill in September for sure, but it's not out of the question. I mean, it's one of the biggest bucks that I've ever had the opportunity to hunt. I elected not to hunt him in September, even though I had him daylight. This is really stupid. I elected not to hunt him because I didn't want to kill him when he was like had his summer coat and like velvet or like just rubbed off. I wanted to hunt him hard horned, like with those nice like beautiful coat, dark antlers. So I just didn't hunt him. And there was multiple days like I kept getting him like daylight.
And he was
active.
a good buck.
Oh, dude, he's like a 164 buck.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah.
You just wanted that. You wanted him in his best.
In his prime, man. And bit me in the butt. Somebody else killed him.
During archery,
no,
September?
They got him right out of the gate in end of October, early November. But
I mean, that's the funny thing about September is it's dry and hot.
Yeah.
And the deer don't look the best.
For sure.
But they're pretty easy to find daylighted.
They are to some degree, yeah. I have a hard time. Everybody talks about like blacktails being so nocturnal, right?
Yeah.
And
I mean, that's for me as a blacktail hunter, that's one of the number one things I'm focusing on.
Yeah.
Is I'm like figuring out how can I find this buck in the daylight?
Sure.
Because 99% of my buck pictures are at night.
Sure.
And I'll go through the whole season and be like, hey, a buck is obviously living here.
Yep.
He's not here during the day, apparently, you know. And some of those bucks, you know, they'll make like a few daylight appearances a year.
Yeah, for sure.
And then they're living at night, and I can't hunt it. I can't hunt at night.
For sure. I think that my opinion on that differs from a lot of people's. I will preface this by saying it depends heavily on the time of year. I'm going to say from late October, let's say October 25th through the end of the year. So all the way up until January.
Some months. Okay.
Everybody always talks about how nocturnal blacktails are.
Yeah.
I do not have a problem. I don't really think they're that nocturnal. I just think that people don't understand how to hunt them.
Okay.
And where to put their cameras. I legitimately probably have more pictures of mature bucks in the daylight than I do in the dark. If I'm being completely honest. Oh yeah, 100%.
Wow.
But it's because I'm in the thick with them. They never stop moving. Like from late October until everybody thinks that they just crawl in a hole and just don't move until it gets dark again. I don't think that's true at all. They move all the time. It's just that they're in the cover. They're in the timber, and they do have like a very small core area, but within that core area, like they move all the time. For instance, this big buck, the one that I killed in the Cascades last year, I had pictures of that buck across 3.5 miles, like 3.5 square miles. I had pictures of that buck.
That's a huge range.
It was only on one ridge that I had daylight pictures, like literally like maybe 5 acres of ground.
So he was adventuring out on little spur trips, but he was living in that one spot.
Yep. But where he lived, he was moving around all the time. Like I have dozens of daylight pictures and videos of him.
Okay.
Interesting.
On that one specific spot, like where he lived.
Yeah.
After I killed him, of course, I went up there and was like checking cameras and looking around, and I mean, like I was 100% right. I guessed good, and he was living right there.
Interesting.
So I want to know, in an area where you feel like, okay, this buck lives in this spot, so you're gonna have a higher chance of getting daylight opportunities and photos of him.
Yep.
How many cameras are you throwing up in that spot? And are you looking for trails, or are you looking for something else?
Kind of depends.
I'm throwing my cams up on trails.
I do a lot of trails. A lot of trails. I'll try to, especially, kind of depends. If you're on flat ground, I try to focus on pinch points. So like any kind of terrain feature, vegetation, most of the time, vegetation and or water that's going to neck the deer down. And I will focus on those spots. And I'll generally, I always try to get the best bang for my buck when placing a camera. So like I will very rarely will I put a camera like on a trail, like on one specific spot. Like it needs to be like a trail intersection for me. There needs to be information in the background of the picture, like multiple trails that are like whatever 10 yards apart, or a trail with like some open behind it, so that if it does get triggered, like I can see the stuff that's further out there.
Okay.
I try to be very strategic where I put my cameras. If you're hunting anywhere with topography, bucks live and die by their nose. Like their scent is so important, and if you understand like a buck's behavior and how they use their nose and how they move, they're almost always moving into the wind. If you have anywhere with topography, they move lateral lines because they're scent checking basically based on thermals. So like they're if the wind's pulling downhill, you know, like you'll catch them a little lower and they'll be smelling essentially everything that's up above them as they're walking the topography line. Same thing like if like especially middle of the day, high up on the ridges, maybe not like right on the spine, but generally like just off the spine, you'll find a trail, like a pretty heavily used trail. I will walk that trail until it either ties in with the spine so that I get the bucks running up the spine and the bucks that take that kind of lateral trail. That's where I like to run cameras to spots like that. Or any kind of a big like trail intersection, like a big X, if you can find a big X.
Because I do single out a lot of trail intersections. That's how I've gotten a lot of good activity. But the ridge tip is good because I have noticed that. In fact, Gage and I walked a couple ridge trails this year, exactly like what you're describing.
Those ridge trails are pretty. Those are pretty killer spots.
That's where we saw a ton of activity. So
lots of rubs.
Tons.
Those bucks, they like the tops of those little ridges and benches. You know, like they really key in on that. But as far as like number of cameras,
well, one more question before that. Are you trying to identify bedding areas, or do you find that blacktail don't bed consistently enough in the same spots?
No. I definitely key in on bedding areas. Generally like a specific, and bucks will bed in different spots than does. So it's very important.
Because I've had a lot of situations where I identify a bedding area. I find literal fresh beds, throw some cams out there, and maybe they'll bed there one more time and then not again.
I don't go in the bedding areas. I pay attention to where they're at, but I never go into a bedding area
to keep them safe. Avoid the
because
scent.
That's kind of their sanctuary, right? Like you don't want to, especially when you're hunting like, well, it kind of goes both ways, you know, like if you're hunting small private, those deer, like you got to be careful not to yard sale your deer. You know, you don't want to lose your deer. You don't want to push them out of there. So I'm very, very careful. I take note of where they are. And in the spring now, or after hunting season is over, I always try to hit the woods really hard throughout the winter and into the spring, shed hunting, just looking around, paying attention to those beds, finding those bedrooms, because once the summer hits, I never ever want to go into a bedding area personally.
Oh, okay.
Same thing for up in the mountains too. Like you'll find areas that the deer like to bed, like up on the ridges, and unless I'm shed hunting, I will avoid those areas and just try to stay away from them.
Okay.
Just because that's where the deer live. You know, that's their little spot that they feel safe.
Yeah.
I'll go run in there and I may put a camera in there, but then I will not very often go in there and check that camera. Like only it may sit there for 6 months before I go in there and check it.
Oh
wow. But yeah, so it does. Bedding areas are definitely important, and buck bedding is definitely, sometimes they bed in the same spots. They definitely do, but generally you'll find, especially if you really start to get intimate and familiar with a piece of property, there will be a very specific spot on that piece of property, if deer bedding on it, that the bucks in particular like to bed.
Okay.
On our own property, there is one patch of, it's just kind of a thick patch. And I think between me and my brother, we've probably shot like 6 or 7 mature bucks out of the same, essentially catching them leaving the same bedding area or returning to the same bedding
Hogan
area.
writes about that in his book, his Blacktail book.
I haven't read his book. I really need to.
Yeah, no, it's great. I think it just went out of print, but he still has some for sale.
Yeah, I just picked one up.
Did you?
It's $20. It's great. Yeah.
But yeah,
Scott's great. I've hunted with Scott.
About. Oh, cool.
Wow.
Yeah, a couple times.
Wow, that's
sweet.
Waterfowl stuff, but yeah.
Okay,
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was going to be on the podcast at one point, but just haven't coordinated it.
Sure.
But anyway, he wrote about how if you have a spot where you found a big buck and you harvest that buck, or go back there.
Oh, for sure, 100%.
Because there's a reason why there was a big buck in there.
Yep,
like
exactly.
It's the perfect habitat.
Yep.
They're not somewhere on accident.
No.
A mature buck is where he is going to be on purpose.
For sure.
And so that's why it's just a good spot,
For sure.
One of the challenges with the Coast Range stuff is the active logging.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Because
that is rough. I've heard about guys, they get a spot all dialed in and then
it happens.
It killed my spot.
Talking about spot strategy, you know how, we were mentioning that a little bit ago about how, so for me, I'm always finding 1 or 2 new spots a year.
Yep.
Because I usually only get 4 or 5 years out of a spot before something logs, even if it logs nearby, it changes how everything uses it.
For sure.
And it's just it changes. It's constantly changing.
Yep.
They'll cut a new road into somewhere.
Yep.
Everything's changing constantly.
That's
and so
another reason why
I'm always
avoid
figuring
the
out. Yeah.
Yep.
Always trying to relearn this and relearn that. But now they've actually been doing a lot of cutting on BLM in the Coast Range too.
Yeah, they have.
Oh, yeah.
They've been doing a bunch of things.
That's been changing because there's 50-year-old trees up there.
Yeah.
That there's some spots I've learned. There's a particular herd of elk that I have been hunting for a while with a nice big bull.
Yep.
And it's all changed. It's all, they didn't even log the spot I've been hunting. They logged right next to it.
Yep.
And it affected everything.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. No, it is very difficult.
It's tough. I want to go back to the bedding thing. I have one more question for that.
Sure.
You mentioned that the bucks and the does, they bed in different areas or different parts on a mountain.
Yep.
Could you go a little bit more into depth on that?
Yeah. So generally, from what I have found, I think there's 2 major contributing factors to it.
Mm-hmm.
The first is the wind, and either if it's flat ground, either the prevailing wind, or if it's up in the mountains, like the thermals, I think have a lot to do with it. I think that's one major factor, and the second factor is that they always seem to be the bucks. Just they're in thicker stuff. Like they're just they seek out that more dense cover. They just kind of, it doesn't need to be a big pocket, but they do generally tend to just find the thicker spots.
Yeah.
From what I found, so it's every time I find an area that is I know for a fact is a buck bedding location, it's generally thick. Where the bed is somewhere where that buck can smell everything coming from one direction and see everything coming from the other direction.
And they have the ability to leave quietly.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's numerous times. They leave quietly, and you never know that they were there.
From all of the days that I spent up in the Cascades this last season, I mean, I bet I spent days in field. I bet it was every bit of 30 or 40 days just like up there walking around. I think I saw 7 deer the whole time.
Wow.
Like I was actually walking around and I know they were there.
Yep.
But they are so, and like I wasn't hunting, right? So like I wasn't moving ultra slow, but still you'd think that you'd see them.
Yeah.
But no, you don't see them. But
Or at
yeah,
least
you check
bust
the
'em.
camera and
Dude,
they're all over there. Like they were.
This is a bad technique, but there are times where I start getting so frustrated that I'm like, can't I even bust one?
Sure.
Can't I even just see a butt running away from me through the woods?
Yeah.
Where are these things?
For sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's a combination of they're either moving out in front of you long before you ever see them, or, I mean, blacktails, they have a reputation for a good reason. They'll just hold tight. Like they'll just lay down.
Oh, yeah, dude. I've walked past so many of them and had them bust behind me or just walk past them.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. So, because you're so protective of bedding areas, what are you doing at 2 p.m?
Oh, I'm for the most part, man, it kind of depends. I hunt a lot out of a tree stand.
Okay.
A lot. Primarily everything in the valley is done out of a tree.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Sometimes different trees, like I move around all the time, but I'm a firm believer that the best time to kill like a big mature buck is between 10 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon.
That's what Scott says.
Yep. Especially like that pre-rut, that early, like late October, early November time frame when those bucks are really cruising. Especially, everybody talks about like rainy, like overcast days for blacktails. I like crisp, calm, like bright bluebird sunny day.
That's cold.
In the middle of the day, cold or not cold, it doesn't matter. Middle of the day, bright bluebird days, early in the rut like that, like when they're looking, those bucks, they are cruising, man. So
you can hear them too.
You can hear them. They're walking through the leaves.
Yeah.
I always try to set up in like somewhat of a pinch point to where if they do come through, I'm going to see them. Like they're going to be reasonably close, you know?
You ever set up to where you're glassing 2 from your tree stand, or are you in the woods most of the time?
I'm in the woods.
Yeah.
I don't, back to like the whole nocturnal thing.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you the last time that I killed a buck not in the timber.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
I don't even hunt them. Like,
Yeah.
not in fields, not in clear cuts, not in meadows, I hunt them in the trees, like in the timber. And I think that's key. And I think that's where a lot of people like to be able to see when they're hunting, and like I'm guilty of it too.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I like to see as much as I can, like whether it's a lane of kind of like knockdown trees that you can see like 100 yards through the timber, but in order to find those bucks when they're not in the daylight, like where they're actually moving around, they're in tight, like they're in the brush. You have to get in the brush with them. You have to.
Yeah.
Yep.
In order to get those, not always, like you can find a big one on a doe, but anybody that you see that's like consistently killing like big mature blacktails is almost always doing it in the brush, in the timber.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's something to that. It's just that I think that's where the common misconception of like people say blacktails are so nocturnal. They are nocturnal in the open stuff.
Yeah.
They won't go out there. There was a buck a handful of years ago, it was in 2019. I hunted this buck for 38 days in a row. And I did finally kill him. And actually the morning that I killed him, I was sitting in my tree stand and he was chasing a doe, and I could see him back in this timber patch. And, he was dogging this doe, running this doe all over, and they got close to the opening, and that doe blew out into the opening. That buck hit the skids the second that he got to the tree line and turned around. I was just watching him because they were close enough.
He was dogging this doe.
Yes, dogging the doe, completely just abandoned her. The second that she broke into the open, he hit the brakes.
And what day was this?
This was November 9th.
So pretty far into the rut.
Yeah, it was pretty far into the rut.
Wow.
And
That's pretty wild behavior. I haven't seen that before.
Yeah,
Wow.
I couldn't believe it. It actually took me off guard because I was like, I was rifle hunting. I had my rifle, and So she popped out into the open, and I was like, "Oh yeah, man! Like he's gonna pop out."
I mean,
right
that's
here.
the
I'm gonna
situation
crush
that
him.
we all have all the time. Is like, well, the buck will follow the doe out.
And it was pretty crazy. The doe squirted out. He hit the edge. He put the skids on, and then he like beat feet back, like kind of into the brush to the point where I was not at all like stressed because like I knew I was gonna get a shot at this buck. You know, I had a gun and he was only like 50 yards away. I was like, whatever. You know, like he's no big deal. Like I can just kind of watch him. You know, because I love watching deer. And so he hit the skids and he turns around and he starts going back towards the bedding, and then I started to panic. I was like, oh no. And he's like getting through windows, and he made the unfortunate mistake. He took a hard left turn and he basically walked like right underneath my tree. I think I shot him like 5 yards. But
wow, that's
crazy.
Close.
Right underneath me. But yeah, it was pretty cool. But yeah, that was just a good example of he was a smart buck, man. I mean,
for sure,
I battled with that buck, but then after seeing that, like that was massively eye opening for me.
That is eye-opening.
Because he was on that doe. I mean, undeniably, that doe was hot.
See, because like I've had multiple situations where like a young 3x3 or a forky just dogging does right out into a clear cut, burst out of the tree line, doesn't even look, doesn't even think twice, and then you blast them, you know. But man, to hear that you witnessed a buck, put the brakes on it, like that's the thing you think about with the blacktail. You think like during the rut, they're stupid. There's nothing that will keep them off of a doe.
Yeah, there's another piece of property, one of the best pieces of ground that I've ever hunted for blacktails. There's a ryegrass field on the edge of it, and for years, like growing up, we hunted this thing, and I knew there was big bucks in there. Like we'd get them on camera occasionally, but like we were always hunting the field edge. We would never, ever see a mature buck. Like there'd be 50 does standing out in the field and 5 bucks out there chasing them around. And you would think that one of those big ones, peak rut, would go strolling out into that field and go chasing them around. Nope. Never did. It took me forever to learn how to hunt that piece of ground.
Wow.
Just because they were those big bucks, they just stayed back in the timber. They would not come out until it was time, you know?
Wow. So they're learning that.
Oh yeah,
like they're
for sure.
Learning that
for sure.
from.
Yeah. They are big for a reason, you know, like those mature bucks, you know, they get to 5 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old. And
man,
they're pretty smart.
Yeah.
But they've been around the block.
I think we can all learn some lessons from your patience. You're hunting 30 to 40 days a year for one buck.
It's a lot. Yeah. I mean, I love it. Like it really is truly my passion is blacktails, and I'm not afraid to. And it's from a spiritual standpoint. I wish everybody would sit in a tree for an extended period of time with nothing but their own thoughts. The amount of personal growth that. The battles that you wage mentally and what you learn about yourself, the time that you have to talk to the Lord. I mean,
it's vitally important because so constantly fed.
We're always in motion, always doing something.
Always, even if it's like when we're finally relaxing at night and it's either TV or phone or this or that. It's constant distracting ourselves. I mean, when I came to rededicate my life to the Lord, I was in a tractor for 16 hours a day all summer, you know, like that. That's when you can hear God, when you're quiet.
100%. Yeah. And there's, you have that time to like mentally kind of like process, if you will. And that was like all my whole testimony. Like the Lord worked me over. There was 2 years, back-to-back years where I just spent a ton of time in a tree. Best thing I ever did, you know, like it was so just critical. And every year, you know, like I look forward to it. And then the other part is like, I absolutely loathe it. I'm like, oh my goodness, like it's coming. And the first 3 days, those first 3 days are so brutal. You know, and it's cold and it's pouring down rain and you're just sitting there huddled up against a tree.
Acclimated.
And I kind of have a rule. I try to stay off my phone like as much as I possibly can, just because Number one, I think it is like very valuable time just to sit there and be still and wait on the Lord and just like pray. And
I tree stand hunted this year, and I'd read a verse, and then I'd put my phone away. For as long as I possibly could.
I've never tried to pray for like an hour straight. Like I always would set a goal to like pray for an hour straight. I never, dude. Never have I ever.
A lot of that, you got to learn to just sit in his presence, and just listen.
For sure. 100%.
Try to stop your mind from wandering. Try to stop your mind from racing, and just be.
It's so hard.
It's hard.
It is very hard.
Yeah. Maybe this is my own mind and how it operates is I find myself talking to the Lord mostly when I'm still hunting or I'm like where I'm moving, but I'm not huffing and puffing up a hill, but I'm just actively.
Your mind is just processing. Yeah, I totally get what you mean.
It's like, okay, Lord, I see all these trails, like, like in a very visible way, lead me down the correct path.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. Talking to the Lord. And that's why I absolutely love blacktail hunting.
Before we get too far down this, because we're going to talk about this, do you have any more blacktail tip questions you wanted to ask him?
Yeah.
Because we've gotten some great tips from this episode already, but just a few more.
Camera placement was a big one.
Yeah.
But you already kind of touched on that. But you briefly mentioned rattling and calling. Could you maybe go a little bit into how you go to that tool in your tool belt when you have to?
So there is only one calling technique. Oh man, I am giving away the juice on this one.
Give us all the jewels.
Okay.
We could use them all.
It's for the Lord.
I was, amen. I was probably like 12 years old, and I had already killed a buck. And my mom threatened me with my life. I think my dad had already killed a bull too. She's like, if you shoot another deer, I'm going to tan your hide. Like, she did not want to deal with one. We raised cows too. So
you're meated up.
We had plenty of meat. We did not need any more meat. And there was this giant buck that I was hunting. It was a huge buck. And so she's like, you can shoot that buck and only that buck. And if you shoot any buck but that buck, like, you're dead.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right.
I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah. I would go hunt every day, just like waiting, hoping, just praying that buck would show up, and sitting in my tree stand. And there was these two almost identical 3 points, and I would see them every morning. Like they were, blacktails are generally not patternable, but these two bucks, dude, they had it. They did the same thing every day.
Wow.
And they would both walk. One of them would walk down this little road that we have, and one of them would walk through the trees. And one day they were both walking at the exact same time, and there was kind of a lane in between. And this lane, like, kind of line of sight. Like, it was just kind of like this weird kind of strip in the timber where there was no trees. It was all under the canopy, but it was, it's like you could see.
Yeah.
These bucks are probably like 100 yards apart. And this strip is right underneath my tree stand.
Okay. Wow.
And so I was sitting there watching these bucks, and I'm like, that's pretty cool. And the buck on the road looked over and saw the buck that was walking through the trees.
Whoa.
That sucker puffed up like a puffer fish, and he snort wheezed.
Whoa.
Okay.
And they both just go, and they came, like right to the base of my tree. Both bucks just posturing. They're all bristled up.
Wow.
Just snort wheezing at each other like crazy. Just like
really?
one after another. Just, snort wheezing.
Wow.
And I'm like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to take a video. I'm shaking so bad that like you can't even see the deer in the video. Like it just.
And you're 12, right?
Yeah. Like I'm like just a kid.
Yeah.
And
man,
it was incredible. But then after that, I was like, what is this snort wheeze? Like I've never even heard of this before.
Did they touch tips? Were they?
No, they circled for like one of them was a little bigger than the other one. And after they got all puffed up, they went opposite directions. But I was like, this snort wheeze, like this is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Because like I'd tried to rattle and I'd tried to grunt and I'd tried to doe bleat. I'd never had any of that work. And but that snort wheeze, since that day, I have snort wheezed in more bucks.
Oh, wow.
Not cold calling them, but The way that I use it is because I am in a tree, like you're in a fixed location, I will, if I see a buck, okay, I see a buck and he's out there and I want to get a better look at him, or I just want to mess with him and I want him to come in, or whatever. I catch a glimpse of one and I don't know what it is. I want to see what buck it is. I'll wait until I can't see him anymore. Or at least I know that they can't see the base of my tree. So generally I just walk until they're like heads behind some brush. And then I hit them with the loudest snort wheeze that I can. 9 times out of 10, those things will walk straight to the base of my tree.
No way.
I have tried it on
Exactly
young
where it
bucks.
is.
I have tried it on like 3-4-year-old bucks. I've tried it on mature bucks. It works most of the time that
You're
I
doing
try
just
it.
one
Interesting.
snort wheeze?
Just like I guess I'll just do it, but just like a...
Wow.
And that'll get them every time.
Wow.
Okay.
Almost every time. It's wild.
Wow.
That's specifically in the valley, but I have also done it up in the hills and had like very good luck up in the hills. I snort wheezed a buck in from like 100 yards. This is kind of like,
Wow.
So
Wow.
technology in hunting is a fine line, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. I love trail cameras. If they banned cell cameras tomorrow, I would not be that upset, to be honest with you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Do I use cell cameras? Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
for sure. I do. They're a powerful tool, right? And I just love getting the pictures on my phone. You know, it's awesome.
Uh-huh.
So I was hunting a tree stand a couple years ago, and I got a picture of a buck up above me, like 100 yards away. Notification comes across my phone. I pull my phone out, and I see it's a buck, and he's kind of like generally headed down the ridge, definitely not going to come towards me.
Wow.
I snort wheezed as loud as I could. I'd be darned if that buck didn't like come on a rope
Wow.
within like 2 minutes to the base of my
Like
tree.
calling in an elk, man. Like
Yeah,
a ruddy
literally.
elk. That's
It
crazy.
was incredible. I wasn't even sure if he could hear me. Like he was just up on the hillside above me.
Yeah.
I knew he was up
Yeah.
there. I snort wheezing. I mean, he came on a rope straight down
Right.
to me.
Wow.
Another tip ingrained in my brain.
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
that is a killer, and it's one that literally nobody talks about.
Yeah.
Like I have heard very, 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 very few people ever talk about snort wheezes for blacktails,
Yeah.
but they're very aggressive.
Yeah.
As far as rattling goes and grunting and doe bleats, I have tried hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times, and I have only ever rattled in one buck, and it was a tiny forked horn.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've not had good luck with
Dude,
rattling.
it's on my blacktail I have my
too.
blacktail bucket list.
I try it every
And
year.
yeah, dude, I try every year, and but the problem is, once again, bringing up Scott Hogan,
Yeah,
he swears by it,
I know.
Yeah.
and I
I
just
know.
can't get it to happen.
I can't either. I have tried so many
Yeah.
times. And
I think Tyson
just
told
don't.
us he rattled one in.
He said
Yeah.
I think he had one experience where he rattled something. And I can't remember if it was big or
One-
mature. Yeah.
I killed my first buck with a doe bleat.
Did you?
Doe bleat.
Yeah.
Interesting. Now
Came-
I've heard
he came
those bleed
right
a lot.
in. He came right in, dude. He was excited. He thought he was gonna get some, man.
Really?
Oh yeah. And
That's crazy.
So I was tracking a couple of bucks up a hill just by their tracks. I hadn't seen the bucks yet.
Yep.
It's my very first year blacktail hunting. And I came to a part where the bigger of the two tracks shot straight up a steep hill. The other one continued on the trail, which was following like a contour.
Yep.
And so I crouched down behind a Scotch broom bush, big mature one that was in the middle of the trail.
Yep.
Blew my doe call very softly.
Yep.
Blew it 2 times. And I sat there looking up the hill. And then I looked to my right, and then there's the buck staring at me through the bush. He's like keyed in, ears sticking straight up, and he's like intently looking into the bush. And I stuck my gun through the bush and shot him.
That's
that was my
awesome.
first blacktail.
Wow.
That's awesome. That's super cool.
Yeah, yeah. So ever since then, I've sworn by bleeding.
Yeah.
Wait.
And I haven't bleeded in. I think I bleeded in one other deer other than that one.
Was it the 2024, the one that I shot?
Oh, yeah.
Technically-
I think we bleeded that one in.
Really?
But it was kind of
Technically-
iffy, hard to tell.
It was about
He-
200 yards away.
I
Interesting.
bleeded. Then he comes into a clear cut and he's hound dogging. He's
Oh,
sniffing
yeah.
the ground and looking
Really?
around.
Mm-hmm.
So we did attribute that one as the bleat pulled him into the
Yep.
clear cut.
For sure.
bet it did.
Because he was hot and ready
So in
to
that
go.
case, 3 bucks I've bleeded.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. I've heard a lot of does bleat.
I've never heard one bleat.
Really?
Yeah.
See, blacktails make a lot of noise. People don't really realize hunting out of a tree, like oftentimes I do kind of get in pretty close with my tree stands to where they're bedding.
You know what I'm noticing?
What's that?
A reason why you have so much blacktail knowledge is you're right in there with them.
Yeah, a lot.
Because
yeah.
I'm glassing a lot.
Are you? Yeah. See,
I'm hiking into
I never
clear
glass for
cuts
blacktails
that you can't drive to, and I'm glassing.
Yep.
But in the middle of the day, I'm still hunting.
Yeah.
But even when I'm still hunting, I'm not standing there or sitting there listening to deer.
Yeah.
So that's really great to talk with you from your perspective as you're in with these deer. That's really valuable knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was what was really interesting for me this year, because I have hunted the tar out of the valley. Like that's really kind of like my bread and butter. It's where I cut my teeth, and I've shot quite a few deer up in the foothills. But I really want to just try like something totally new, something like different. And what was interesting to me was how transferable the information from the valley to the Cascades was. Like the way that I was hunting was exactly the same. The only difference is that there was just topography in the mountains.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as like the way that everything kind of laid out, as long as you kind of kept the topography in your mind, everything was basically all the same. And so I was able to pick it up like really quickly and kind of like figure out where the deer were and what they were doing. And that was really interesting. But I think a lot of that has to do just with the amount of time that I have spent like just around deer and hunting deer. And the cameras really play a huge... I have learned so much from running the cameras. So much from running the cameras. I ran all my cameras on video mode this year. Was this the first year that I've done it? Not the cell cams.
You hadn't done video before?
No, all pictures.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just a burst, just a series of,
'cause
because it takes
I primarily
forever
do video.
takes forever to check your cameras when you're...
if you're running as many as you're running too.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, on my phone, my phone is just, thousands and thousands and thousands. I checked I got on my Stealth Cam app last night. I was looking around. I have 93,850 some pictures on the app.
That's just a few.
You can't even go through those, dude.
No,
that's not possible.
Wow, that's just stupid.
My goodness.
Yeah, that's within that's like a year and a half's worth of pictures, I think.
Oh man.
Yeah, something
no,
like that.
I have 3 cams and none of them are cells. They're all, I put them in about May, June, I put them in, and then I check them in October. Yeah. So that's, that's my strategy. Yep. But
I'm regressing. There for a while. Last year I ran all total across the state. Keep in mind, like this is literally from like end of end to state. So all over. But I ran like 80 cameras last year. Wow. And about half of those were cell cams. But I got some cameras from Browning last year. They're kind of like high-end non-cell camera ones. And I would trade all of my cameras in for like a few more of those because
they just look so good.
They are amazing. Yeah. Like the video quality is insane. The field of view is insane. There'll be a buck that walks by like 30 yards out there. You can zoom in on the video and see like exactly what the buck is.
Wow.
Audio quality is crazy. Like
dude.
You're talking about like vocalization and blacktails, like mews. I've got a couple bucks grunting on there. No smart wheeze this year, which was kind of a bummer, but it's just, you learn so much from running those cameras, especially on video. Like I did not realize what I was missing out on until I started actually running them on video, and it's amazing. Just fascinating.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
No,
that's great.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Now that you mention it, I have gotten a couple doe vocalizations on video.
Have you?
But it's always in the context of with a fawn.
Yeah. Oh. Almost always it's with a fawn. Yeah,
okay.
I will say, it's the doe or like a yearling, like the doe and the yearling communicating back and forth to each other, or whatever it is. I guess like a 6-month-old,
or even like in the summer.
Yeah,
the little ones. Yeah.
They almost always, when I do hear bucks like making grunts, they're almost always dogging does. If you listen to them, like if you get the opportunity to like get close enough, and it's not a loud grunt at all. It's a very quiet, but I have a sweet video of this really cool buck that was chasing a doe all around my tree this last hunting season. And he is just continuously grunting the whole time.
Oh, interesting.
Like, meh,
Wow.
And they're just charging through the brush. It was
Wow.
epic videos, super cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Man.
But it's almost every time I've ever heard them grunt, it's always
Yeah.
been, wow, they're dogging it.
Yeah.
now.
Wow.
Awesome.
I haven't heard a grunt out in the field, but I've heard so many blows.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Deer blows.
Yeah.
Because they're
sure.
all puffing up and everything. One time I was sitting in one of my duck spots and I was in my kayak, pushed up into some just tree cover.
Yep.
And I'm sitting there. It's about 15 minutes till shooting light. And I'm just calmly sitting. And all of a sudden I hear a right in my back ear. It scared the crap. And whoa, almost fell in my kayak.
Jumping your skin. Yep.
Yeah, it freaked me out. But
There's nothing worse.
Yeah.
When you just get settled into your tree in the morning and then a doe starts blowing.
oh,
You're like,
yeah. Dang it.
I'm doe hunting now.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
And then when they start running through the woods doing it, you
Yep.
just hear them so
Yeah,
far away
yeah.
blowing. It's like,
Yep.
come on.
Yeah.
Do I even
Blow out the
do I
whole
even
woods.
stay here?
Yeah.
You do stay.
Okay.
That's one thing I've learned. You just
Okay.
stick it out.
Okay.
Give it a half hour and it's a whole new
Okay.
new
New
endeavor.
woods.
Yeah.
New woods.
Yeah.
For sure. But
All right. Well, this has been a wonderful conversation about one of my favorite things in the world.
Yep.
Thanks for all your tips too.
Yeah.
Really, really cool stuff. Your perspective on blacktails, awesome with a lot of the experiences you've had. So thank you for sharing
Yeah,
that.
thank you.
Of course.
But we always end the show the same way, by getting to the real talk. And the question that we like to ask to kick it off is, how do you connect with God through the outdoors?
The outdoors is like the place that I connect with God. For me personally, it's where I have undeniably like experienced the most growth. It's kind of like forged me. It's made me who I am. And through various, I'm a firm believer that the Lord uses the desires of our hearts to almost, I like to say that he almost leverages them against us. And in my own life, like that is so true. You know, like the reason that I do what I do, you know, like it is because in your outline, one of your questions was like when blacktail hunting tips, you know, like, and I was thinking about, you know, like, what's my number one tip for like blacktail hunting, right? And I've been pondering this for the last like week, and really ultimately I do have a number one tip for hunting blacktails. And that tip is Matthew 33 says, seek first the kingdom of God, and like basically everything will be provided for you. And in my own life, there is a direct correlation between me seeking him first,
Yeah.
and then undeniably, unmistakably good things happening, right? Like not always,
Yeah.
not always, but it's happened enough times that like I know that if I am prioritizing my relationship with the Lord, and if I am essentially like doing my part in the friendship, right?
Yeah.
Like seeking that relationship with the Lord, and having that connection, and making sacrifices, and putting other people first, and putting God first above all else. I think that there's a direct correlation. Like if the Lord looks down at me and he smiles and he says, you know, like, well done, good and faithful servant, you know, like maybe he'll throw me a bone, you know, like maybe not, maybe, just maybe he'll send a big buck my way. And I don't know. I just like to think about that. I think about that a lot, you know, like am I doing what I should be doing? Right? Like, am I seeking him? Am I prioritizing him? Am I pursuing the things of the wild above my friendship with the Lord, and you know, like discipling other people, and that's something that I struggle with a lot, you know, because like I'm a pretty driven and motivated individual, and so sometimes, admittedly, I'll get pretty sucked into my own routines. Yeah. And I'll have to kind of pull back from that, you know, occasionally and say,
absolutely,
no, you're off the mark.
Yeah.
And it's such a great hunting, especially tree stand hunting, but hunting in general is such a great break out of that.
For sure.
Like I feel like I'm suffering spiritually when I don't get out in the woods enough, you know?
Yeah. It's you can everybody. I married the best woman in the world. I don't know how anybody puts up with the amount of time that I devote.
Wow. Yeah.
But she made the comment the other day. She's like, I like it when you go. Like you need that. You're not the same person if you don't go and get that time to just kind of reconnect and refocus. And
yeah.
I'm also, I will say though, like we talked about it earlier about like, I don't really hunt on Sundays.
Yeah.
I'm also a huge believer that there is absolutely no substitution for gathering in fellowship with the community and participating in worship and hearing a sermon and every Sunday, like it's just it's a refreshing, like much like going to the woods, but of a different kind almost.
Well, that I think has a big part to do with the fact that we're not alone in our relationship with God. The kingdom isn't a place where it's just us in a vacuum, you know,
sure.
like the fellowship with the believers is important,
for
you
sure.
know. I've seen it a lot where someone will post something like I don't go to church on Sunday. This is my church. And it's like, you know, them fishing or something, or like, why would I go? I saw one specifically this week that said like, why would I go to a room full of hypocrites when I could connect with God out here instead?
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, that accusation of the church being hypocrites. I mean, that's kind of the point.
Yeah.
Is like,
exactly.
we're all sinners. We
For
all
sure.
fall short of the glory of God. And, and like, it doesn't make us hypocrites that we desire to live for God.
For sure.
And we want to rally around truth and
other like-minded individuals that'll lift you up and help you to.
But I think the danger is when a church community isn't authentic or real.
Yes.
And people can smell that. Like
sure.
a drop of inauthenticity.
Yep.
And people are like, this is weird, you know?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
But like the true church and a healthy church is vital in the life of a believer.
It is.
And
it is so important.
Like you can't replace it just by going to the woods.
For sure.
But going to the woods for
it's
us
on its
is
own level.
vital in the life of a believer.
For sure.
You know, for the way that we connect with God and know God, it's like we need both.
For sure.
Yeah.
You do. You 100% need both.
But that doesn't mean you should stop going to church on Sundays just because you're hunting.
For sure.
And then post about it.
Sure.
And then post about it. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I always like to think about the fact that like if I'm sacrificing my own like selfish time to go hunting and I'm going to church, like prioritizing the Lord, you know, like actively, I would love to be out in the woods Sunday morning. Like, don't get me wrong. I would love to. There was this one buck that I hunted. I mean, it was the buck that I found out got killed by the guy. I was hunting a couple years ago, but every Sunday, looking back on it now, it was an access problem. He knew I was coming in there. That's why it was happening. But at the moment, like every Sunday, you know, like I'd sit there all week long and I would just know that I would be sitting in church and that buck, I'd get a picture of that buck. Yep. And it happened like 3 or 4 weeks in a row. It's like, come on, you know, like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing here, God. Brutal. You know, like throw me a bone and
and we're not like legalistic, you know.
No.
It's not like
I desire to be in church.
Saved, you know. Yeah. It's important for our walk,
for sure.
You know.
Exactly.
And there's the whole aspect of the sacrifice of praise.
Yep.
You know, like if our praise costs nothing, then what is it? It's nothing. It's happy words. Yep. It's cheap.
For sure.
But if our praise costs something, like then it's actually valuable. Like we're giving something of value to him. Yes. And I love that point you brought up because I'd never thought of it that way. Yeah. Because I'm one who also I mean I'll every once in a while I'll have a weekend trip and I'll multi-day and I'll miss church on Sunday.
Yeah,
but
me
like
too. If I'm on a trip, I'll certainly.
But like I don't regularly hunt on Sundays. Yeah. And I never thought of it the way you're saying. Like that's part of my sacrifice of praise to God. That it cost me something to be at church.
You are prioritizing the Lord.
Yeah, it's costing me a day of hunting, which is one of the most important things to me.
Yep.
I never thought of it that way, so I appreciate that perspective.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure.
Yeah,
but
that's cool.
Yeah, no, I mean, is it Faith and hunting to me, I mean, like they're deeply rooted, and they kind of always have been, but especially over the last few years, really since like 2021 was I would consider like 2021 kind of like my breakthrough year and my coming back to the Lord. And ironically enough, that's the year that I accomplished the Sports Pack Slam.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
it was through hunting that I had a lot of personal growth and development. And every year, like I always say that hunting season is both the time when every year is the same, but it's when I experience the hardest tests and the most trial, and the most like temptation of problems that like I don't deal with the rest of the year, but then when hunting season rolls around, all of a sudden like these temptations start coming back, and I do battle with them every year, you know, like I gotta go to the,
That's
but
very
at the same
interesting.
time,
Very interesting that they're aligned.
at the same time, it's every year it's when I have like the greatest breakthrough and the greatest personal like growth. And it's all intertwined for me.
Yeah. You were talking about how your wife notices a difference when you are in the woods and spending time there versus when you're not, and kind of connecting that to the spiritual connection you feel when you attend service and you block out Sundays, is that's your time to connect with a congregation of like-minded people.
Yep.
And those, you can't separate the two. They are separate in their own regards. Like you have your spiritual connection, your growth, the people you rely on, that maybe people rely on you. But then God uses that time when you're out in the woods to sharpen you.
For sure.
To those things, those strongholds that you need to burst, to just break free from. Like, you know, you were talking about with the story, your favorite hunting story. You basically got on your knees and said, "I'm so sorry, God," and you repented. Yeah. And those are the times where we get sharp.
For sure.
And
100%.
And
sharp is a good way to put it.
Yeah, you're sharp, and now like look at the fruit of it. You get to share it on this platform.
For sure.
And show it for God's glory.
For sure.
Yeah. I think that's awesome.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and
Praise the Lord.
You shared with us before about how you received a specific call from God during a worship service. Where he called you to combine your love for hunting with your mission as a Jesus follower to share the gospel with people and to create disciples and to simply disciple the believers and, you know, create that space through specifically making a podcast and specifically making opportunities to connect with hunters and fishermen. And so when you shared that, I was just completely floored because it's the same call that we received to start this, you know, and I just love that, man. That's there are no coincidences.
No,
like God works in amazing ways, and I'm excited to see what the future holds for both of us. Like,
me as well.
Who knows what amazing things we're gonna get to do together in the kingdom, for the kingdom,
for sure, because
of you answering that call, walking in that call. Going in faith, starting the Crimson Way podcast. And you've had some great conversations on there that have been super fun to listen to. And just a great way for people to continually get more encouragement, you know? So I encourage our listeners to add it to their rotation, you know, of podcasts to listen to. You know, now you can listen to the Crimson Way, and it's a great way to continually get some more Jesus in your life and to get encouragement and to still also talk about hunting.
For sure.
Obviously, you can listen to our show. You can listen to the Life Outdoors podcast. You know, there's like these great ways that are fun and entertaining to keep Jesus in your life. But, you know, I do want to say thank you, Zach, for walking in that call and for seeing it through, making it happen. And it's just really amazing.
Yeah, for sure. No, thank you guys. And thank you for doing the same. You know, it was when I created the podcast, I was like, man, I don't know if anybody else is doing this. And all of a sudden, you know, it was, here you guys are, and you're basically an hour from me. So that was pretty awesome.
Yeah. And the thing that I love about it that makes it unique, because there are lots of outdoor faith related things.
Yes. There is.
99% of them are in the Bible Belt. 99.9% of them they talk about, I don't know, what do you want to call it? Southern culture, United States, you know, like just, it's just a different world than we live in.
Is.
It's not even
very different
remotely
than the
similar.
Northwest.
So for us P&W guys, there's not as much, but God's making a way, man. God's making some stuff between what he's called you to do, what he's called us to do, what he does with the life outdoors, and so many other people that he's calling, pastors and Jesus followers, and just amazing things are happening in the Pacific Northwest in that outdoor ministry world.
For sure.
And dude, we get to be a part of it, and it's amazing.
It is. It's absolutely amazing, and we live in a special place. You know, Oregon is a unique and beautiful state, and it's just there's a lot that happens here.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of I feel like it's just kind of a stronghold, and it just pumps me up that
we're fighting a battle, man.
We're waging a war, and I'm excited to see where the war leads, because I think that we could see tremendous breakthrough. And we are the tip of the spear, you know, like and that's pretty cool.
You know? Have you heard about the opportunity that we have with the Northwest Mountain Challenge? We're doing a mountain church at all 3 stops.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
Make sure to add that to your calendar.
I think I'm going to. I think for sure I'm going to try to make the one.
So if you're able to maybe stay Saturday night to be there sunrise Sunday morning, we're doing mountain church.
Awesome.
And we've just gotten so much support, and that was a cool thing where you know, God kind of put it on my heart, and I brought it up to a couple people, but then a guy named Garrett, he heard it, and it like strongly latched onto his heart. He was like, he's assessing over it. He's like, God is saying that we need to do this.
Yeah.
And so then we made the ask, and the Northwest Mountain Challenge was like, heck yeah.
That's awesome.
And so it's like an official part of the event. Like it's on their event schedule as Mountain Church at the Idaho, Washington, and Oregon stops. So
that is super cool, man.
You know, love to see you there. Love to have you a part of that as well.
I think I can make it this year. I'm almost always gone, but I was actually just at League the other night. We were looking at the dates, and I think for sure I'll be there. So
all right, great. Well, then we'll see you there
for sure.
And it's just another example of how God's opening doors.
Yeah.
Could you? I never thought that the Northwest Mountain Challenge could have a mountain church, and it would be like a official part of the event of the Northwest. Like, that's just amazing, you know?
It's super cool.
It's mind-boggling.
Yeah, I think that speaks to the heart of what we're trying to do here, is that the outdoorsman that everyone interacts with has a sense of God.
For sure.
And I think it's like, you're not going to get that in sports.
For sure.
You're not going to get that in any other type of hobby or pursuit.
Like, there's really nothing like it.
Yeah,
I
absolutely
mean, and like one of the things that was really laid on my heart when I created the Crimson Way podcast was it's just, there's a lot of outdoorsmen that, I mean, basically all of them believe in some form of a creator.
Yep.
But a lot of those people don't go to church because they don't feel like they're relatable. So like,
or they haven't connected the dots of who like the true Yahweh God is. The one that sent his son to die on the cross
is the same
God of the Bible. That's where our burden and your burden is to connect the dots. Like that, we just want to show like, hey, that God that you know exists because you watch the sunrise over the Cascade Mountains.
Yep.
That's the God.
Yep.
You know, so it's a beautiful vision, you know, but it's just connecting the dots because it's already there.
Yep.
You know, the Spirit's going before these people to where they would even believe there's a God.
Yep.
Let alone they'll open their hearts to see that this God, well, the only reason why you know he exists is because he wants you to know he exists.
For sure.
And he has a plan for your life.
For sure.
And he loves you.
Yep.
And there's an opportunity for a beautiful relationship with you and that creator that you sense when you're out there in the woods. He's ready for you.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah. It's such a beautiful
thing. It's a life-altering experience.
Yeah. Zach, thank you so much for coming and being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Thank
you.
I
appreciate it. This was awesome.
Is there anywhere else you'd like to send our guests? We talked about your Instagram, Blacktail Brotherhood.
Yep.
Your podcast, Crimson Way.
Yep. Blacktail
Deer Foundation, Willamette Valley chapter.
Yes, Willamette Valley chapter.
Let's think, what are some more things you want to send people to?
If anybody wants to email me for whatever reason, my email is zach@blacktailsolutions.com. But yeah, other than that, I guess.
Is Blacktail Solutions your excavating company?
That was actually my trucking company.
Your trucking company.
Trucking company. Wow.
The excavation company is Blacktail Land Management.
Okay.
Yeah.
This man
I'm
loves
sensing the
Blacktail.
Blacktails, yeah.
You got any Blacktail tattoos?
No tattoos.
No tattoos. All right.
Nope.
Cool. Well, man, thanks so much for the great
thank
conversation, the tips, the spiritual encouragement, and I'm excited for what we got coming up in the future, man.
Me too, man.
So let's
Thank
keep
you
it
guys.
going.
I appreciate it.
We'll keep working together, keep praying, and all of our listeners, thank you for being a part of this and the move of God. And I want to encourage you to dive in now more than ever. Something's happening. It's gearing up. Something amazing is coming. Big things are coming in the kingdom of God through the outdoors in the PNW.
Amen.
He's calling people up, and people are answering the call. It's a big deal.
Yes, sir.
So I'm excited. This has been the Oregon First Hunting and Fishing Podcast. I'm Bryant.
Gage.
And Zach Phelps.
Thanks for listening.